Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel ForexPnL. Today is Saturday the 19th of March 2022 and it's time for me to do my weekend Forex forecast for the upcoming week. As usual guys, we are going to be starting by taking a look at the economical calendar. Alright, so let's head to Forex Factory and see what we have. Now for Monday, what do we have here? Actually for most of next week, it seems like we have some speech, okay? Speech is coming from most of the governors of the the central banks around the world. Okay, you can see from Australia, US, and UK. Okay, so we also have the CPI data coming from the British Axis on Wednesday. Highlight here, no news on Tuesday. Okay, bank holidays from Japan on Sunday. And then on Thursday, we actually have a big day from Switzerland. Okay, you can see we have the Swiss National Bank press conference, which is a huge one, and also on the Swiss National Bank monetary policy assessments, and also the PI data coming from Germany. All right, so that's pretty much what we have on the economical calendar right now from a fundamental perspective. Actually, these are the high impact news I've filtered for the high impact news and for bank holidays. All right, so that's pretty much what we have on the agenda. Not so heavy, not light either. All right, but at least you have an idea of what's going on next week. All right, so now going into the charts, as usual, we're going to be kicking things off by taking a look at DXY and taking a look at the weekly time frame. Well, you can see from the weekly time frame, obviously this pair is in an uptrend right now. You can see how we're forming higher highs and higher lows, which well is indicative of an uptrend. We got this nice push to the upside last week, okay, but then you notice that this week it seems as if price topped out around that 99.50 area, and then from there we've now gotten a pullback again this week into the demand zone that we have on the daily time frame, and it's as if we're getting some form of rejection from that particular level. You can see we have some bottom wick right here in this particular week's candle, so it's as if we're getting some rejection from that area. Overall, we are in an uptrend. The question is, are we going to continue trending to the upside from the daily demand zone? All right, or is price going to probably give us another push to the downside into the weekly demand zone, maybe around 9600, from where we might expect the boost to start coming back into this market again. All right, again, only time is going to tell, but from right now we're in an uptrend and price seems to be bouncing off of the daily demand zone. All right, taking a look at the daily time frame, what do we have here? Well, obviously you can see from here, reading price action, we have a clear break, okay, of a resistance area. Okay, you can see this area that's been working as resistance. Price gave us a little hesitation, and then from there we got a massive push to the upside. Price has given us a pullback into this demand area, but we have failed to make a new high, and now we're back into that demand zone area. Now the question is for me that I have for this particular market is very simple. Are we just going to bounce off of this demand zone to the upside, or will price probably give us a deeper push, let's say towards 9700 area, into this area right here, from where maybe the bulls might start coming back into this market? Okay, only time will tell, but again, what I'm seeing in this particular index is a possibility of maybe another wave to the downside, okay, to fill up demand zones that we have on the daily time frame, from where I will expect the bulls to probably start coming in. All right, so obviously any bounces to the upside from right around this area, I would be interested in searching for long opportunities, okay, for further continuations to the upside. All right, but again, it's not so clear. Like I said, we have this demand zone area. We also have an area in this neighborhood right here, so it's quite a large area, but again, any bounces from this area, I believe the market is going to give us a nice push to the upside. All right, at least that's what I'm seeing right now in DXY. Not much from a 4 hours perspective. All right, again, like I said, let's see what happens in this 9700 and 9750 area. Do we get any bounces from 9700 to 9750 area? I'll be looking for opportunities to go long. All right, that's it for DXY. Next up is going to be US dollar Swiss francs. Okay, let's take a look at the weekly time frame. If you guys remember last week, I told you guys something about trading triangles. All right, breakout of triangles. You can see last week this was what we had, but you can see that from here last week we got a very nice push and break above this the upper bound of this particular triangle. And I told you guys that one thing I don't like about triangles is the fact that price can easily begin to shoot back into that particular triangle, and all you have to do is just to adjust the triangle. And that's exactly what the markets did for this week. In fact, we got a very nice push to the upside towards that 0.9450 institutional price level, which corresponds to this resistance area that we have here. And from there, you can see the rejection that we got to the downside that succeeded in closing this week's candle a very nice pin bar, as you can see right here. All right, so well, now this is the triangle we have. We now have pretty much a flat top triangle, and we have some wiggle room, in my own opinion, okay, from right around here. I still think the bulls are in this market, okay. That's how it's looking, at least for now. You can see, even though we're getting significant resistance in this area, but if you pay attention to the previous week's candle, we very much have a very nice push to the upside, almost like an engulfing candle. So what I'm expecting this week is, as we go into next week, is let's say for price to give me maybe another push to the downside to pretty much retest this demand zone that we have, maybe for a push towards 92.75, 92.50 institutional price level, anywhere from right around there inside this demand zone. I would not be surprised if the bulls come back into this market to continue pushing price to the upside, at least for a possible retest of this previous swing high area and beyond. All right, that's kind of the price action that I'm seeing right now in US dollar Swiss francs. Okay, now taking a look at the daily time frame, you see the price action even better. You can see that we have this area of resistance on our charts. Okay, you can see it's been working as resistance for a while now, and finally from here we got a very nice push to the upside that broke these levels of resistance and creating this demand zone in the process, and that level is yet to be retested. Okay, so what I would love to see right now is for price to give me maybe a push into this particular demand zone area, anywhere from right around here. If we begin to get bounces to the upside, in my own opinion, that would be a nice trade to start searching for long opportunities towards the previous swing high area. Okay, all right, that's pretty much what I'm seeing right now in US dollar Swiss francs. Next up is going to be Euro US dollar. Now for Euro US dollar, what do we have from the week? Well, kind of the inversion of the DXY. You can see that from the weekly time frame, the market is still maintaining that lower highs and lower lows formation. Last week's candle, if you guys remember, I told you it was not the best looking candle. I expected a push to the upside for maybe a potential continuation to the downside, but that's not exactly what the markets did. You can see that this week is actually a bullish candle that gave us another push or another attack of that daily supply zone that we have in euro dollar, and from there you can see we have some form of a weak rejection to the upside. Okay, suggesting that the bears are still in this market, hopefully protecting that daily supply zone area, from where you know, I would expect the bears to start coming into this market to continue pushing these markets to the downside as we go into next week. Okay, that's kind of what I'm seeing right here from a price action perspective. Yes, it's a bullish week, however it's not doing much of a damage. Okay, it's still respecting the daily supply zone area and even just tested a weekly supply zone area as well. Okay, so looking at the daily time frame, what do we have here? Just like with the case of the DXY, you see that we have this level of resistance. All right, actually this level of support that we have in this area that got broken right around here. Price has given us a first dip to the downside, but pay attention now, we have not made a new low, and from there we are getting another push to the upside. So could this be that the bulls are now coming into this market from here, maybe respecting this buying origin for further continuations to the upside? Well, let's see. But as long as price remains below this daily supply zone, I'll be more interested in searching for short opportunities, okay, for further continuations to the downside. So that being said, what I would love to see next week is for, let's say, price to probably give me a push to the upside, maybe for a possible test, let's say, of 1150, 1200 area. Okay, anywhere from right around this area, I would love to see this market, if we are going to be respecting this daily supply zone, I would love to see this market begin to give me a push and a bounce to the downside for further continuations to the downside. All right, that is pretty much what I can see right now from Euro US dollar on the daily time frame. Now if we take a look at the 4 hours time frame, well, not much, and maybe we'll probably have some form of a trend line in here, okay, that the market has been respecting. Okay, so you can just use that as a guide, maybe to kind of have an idea when the market begins to clearly break to the downside. All right, but for right now, if you pay attention to the 4 hours time frame, what do you see here? Well, obviously a supply zone that we had in this area, you can see that supply zone got broken right here by this particular push to the upside, creating a demand zone in this neighborhood. Okay, so this is the demand zone that I am referring to right here. Okay, so well, you can see that where price gave us a push to the downside into that demand zone, and from there we bounced off, respecting higher highs and higher lows in the process. And from here you can see that we have now taken off this high. So the market is clearly slowly forming higher highs and higher lows in the 4 hours time frame. And right now you can see that on Friday, just before the markets closed, we kind of came very close to this trend line, and we are bouncing off again. So who knows, it's very possible that maybe we might get a push to the upside, maybe to give us another push to the downside towards this trend line, before we get a nice attack of that particular daily supply zone that I have pointed out, from where I will expect the bears to start coming back into this market for further continuations to the downside. That's kind of the price action that I would like to see in Euro US dollar going into next week. Okay, so let's pay attention to these particular supply zones that are now slowly but surely forming on our charts. Okay, all right, that's it for Euro US dollar. Now next up is going to be Australian dollar US dollar. Now taking a look at the weekly time frame, guys, obviously this pair is moving as anticipated. If you guys remember, I said that because price has now taken off this particular level in this chart, all right, by this previous candle that we have here, that this is most likely going to be just a pullback candle for further continuations to the upside. In my opinion, this was a little overshoot. I didn't expect it to go this deep, to be honest. I wanted maybe a pullback towards this particular area, but you can see we got an overshoot. But then towards the end of the week, the bulls came back into these markets and continued to push price to the upside. Now that being said, I'm not going to make much of an analysis on this particular currency pair, because I would have loved to see price take off this high. But you can see that from here, price did not quite take off this high. So this is one of those that I'm going to be, placing a hold on, all right, as we go into next week. Obviously, we'll be giving a midweek forex forecast, to give you guys an updated analysis, because price is still remaining below this level. I cannot really say that we are making higher highs and higher lows at this particular point, and the reason is because this is the demand zone that I was keeping an eye on, all right, and I wanted price to give me a bounce from this demand zone. Well, as you can see here, price didn't quite bounce off from this demand zone. We actually had a very strong push to the downside. You can argue that maybe we bounced off from this particular area, but because of this push, all right, it kind of negated the current flow that we had in this particular currency pair. And the only way that I'm now going to start establishing new demand zones in this particular currency pair is when price takes off this high. So going into next week, what I would love to see in this particular currency pair is for price to give us to take off this particular high that we have in the daily charts, right around, let's say, 0.7450 area. If price begins to take off that area, then I'm going to be mapping out a new demand zone on the daily charts, and even possibly on the 4 hours time frame as well. Okay, so more information is needed in this particular currency pair, like I pointed out earlier. All right, that's it for Australian dollar US dollar. Next up is going to be New Zealand dollar US dollar. Okay, now quite similar to Australian dollar US dollar, as you can already see what's going on, but this one is playing out more in a textbook fashion. If you guys remember, we paid attention to the daily charts, and I told you guys that as long as price is still trading above this particular demand zone that we have in this area, that I would be more interested in searching for long opportunities. And you can see that, well, that's exactly what this currency pair did. Price dipped into this particular demand area right around 0.6750 institutional price level, and from there the markets just turned around to the upside. But well, we are respecting demand zones. However, I would also love to see price take off these highs that we have around 0.6925 level, for me to start establishing very pure higher highs and higher lows formation. All right, but that being said, this is looking more bullish and looking more textbook in my opinion. All right, now if we take a look at the 4 hours time frame, all right, you notice that we have this significant level of resistance on our charts, a little breather here here, and then the markets took off this level. So we have a demand zone here in the 4 hours time frame that I'm going to be keeping an eye on in this particular currency pair. In my own opinion, a push into this particular demand zone area, let's say 0.6850 level, anywhere from right around here, I believe the bulls might come into this market. Okay, again, only time can tell, but any bounces we get from this particular area, I'll be looking for long opportunities for further continuations to the upside, which will probably be the move to take off this previous swing high that we have in this particular area. All right, so that's it for New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Now, next up is going to be British pounds, US dollar. All right, the cable. Okay, what do we have here? From the weekly time frame, again, last week we had a nice push to the downside, breaking this level of resistance. Price gave us a nice bullish week, okay, retracement week. Right now we are retesting that level of structure, but in my own opinion, I think we are still going to get maybe another push to the upside. Okay, maybe it could be to form the high of the week next week, and then from there, once price gets to this, maybe this daily supply zone, in my opinion, I will expect the bears to probably come into this market and flex their muscle again for further continuations to the downside. Okay, 1 second. All right, so that's kind of what I'm seeing from the weekly time frame. Yes, a bullish week, but in my opinion, maybe just enough to create a retracement for further continuations to the downside. All right, again, it's also possible that we get a very massive bullish week into this particular weekly supply zone area, but in my opinion, before we get to that level, we have to first of all battle with this daily supply zone that we have in this area. Okay, now taking a look at the daily time frame, we begin to see it clearer. Daily supply zone formed as a result of the break of these levels of structure to the downside, also taking off this level of structure right here. So in my own opinion, this is a strong zone, and well, if we do get price to dip into this particular area, maybe 133.50 institutional price level, even 133.00, anywhere from right around here, if we begin to get any bounces to the downside, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go short for further continuations to the downside. All right, that's pretty much my game plan going into next week. So that means that in the beginning of the week, we might first of all maybe get a little pullback for further continuations to the upside. Okay, that's kind of the price action that I'm seeing in British pounds, US dollar. Okay, but the key level for me is going to be 133.00 to 133.50 in this particular area, anywhere from right around here. If we get any turnaround to the downside, in my own opinion, that's the move that I would prefer to see, to start looking for short opportunities in British pounds, US dollar. All right, that's it for the cable. Next up is going to be US dollar, Canadian dollar. What do we have here? Now, again, this week was actually a bearish week. Okay, finally we have some significant move. You can see that for the past 6 weeks or thereabouts, we've been having significant weeks either to the downside or to the upside, and just a bunch of pin bars. But then this week actually we got some significant move to the downside, weak rejection from the upside, and then significant move to the downside. But again, that being said, this move is now taking us very close to the trend line of this flat top triangle, from where the markets can easily, okay, very easily give us maybe another push to the upside as we go into next week. So that is something to keep an eye on as you go into next week. Okay, but right now you can see that we have a pin bar rejection followed by a bearish candle. In my opinion, it's looking more bearish than bullish, at least at the moment. But remember what I said, we're very close to this particular trend line on the weekly time frame. Okay, all right, now going into the daily time frame, not much to be said here, to be completely honest with you. The market is back into that particular area. The move that I would prefer to see is maybe a bounce to the upside. Okay, I would love to see maybe price give us a dip into this particular trend line. All right, from right around, let's say 1.2550 level, maybe a little hesitation. But then if we finally begin to make higher highs and higher lows in the smaller time frame, I would like to see this currency pair give us another push to the upside for a possible retest of this previous swing high area. Okay, maybe towards 129.00 and 129.50 area. That will be my preferred move. But that being said, right now it's looking more bearish than bullish. Okay, that's kind of the price action that we are seeing, but we are yet to take off any key levels of demand. Okay, if you remember, this was the key area of demand that we have in this particular currency pair. Price is in that demand zone area again. So even though we might have 4 bearish days, we are back inside this particular demand zone area and also right around the trend line of this flat top triangle. So trade with caution. Okay, just pointing out some things for you to keep an eye on. But again, like I said, my preferred course of action would be something of this nature. All right, that's it for US dollar Canadian dollar from the daily time frame. Now in the 4 hours time frame, not much. Price is it's quite ugly, to be honest. Price gave us a push to the upside, dipping into this 4 hours supply zone from where we started melting to the downside. All right, but again, these candles in here, it's not the type of candles that I like to trade, to be completely honest with you. So what I would love to see next week is maybe for price to give me a quick push to the upside. Okay, flushing through all these ugly looking candles. Okay, I don't know what to call that formation, but then maybe from there, upon pullbacks, I'll start searching for long opportunities for further continuations to the upside. All right, that's it for US dollar Canadian dollar. Next up is going to be US dollar Japanese yen. Now, for US dollar Japanese yen, this pair just continues to push to the upside. Okay, we obviously have a second bullish week. Okay, massive bullish week. Price didn't even give us a peep to the downside. You can see from the open, we just continue to push to the upside. Well, bullish. Okay, there's no questions right now, and we can see we've now taken off this particular level right here on the weekly time frame. So maybe next area for resistance on this pair is probably sitting around 121.50 area. Well, let's see how it goes. But right now, honestly speaking, I would like to see price give me some form of a pullback, maybe not towards this demand zone area that we have on the daily. I feel like price is now way far away from that particular level, but maybe enough to give us a push to the downside into maybe this 4 hours demand zone, from where maybe I would love to see the bulls maybe come back into this market to continue pushing the markets to the upside. All right, looking more bullish right now, obviously, no questions. Pin bar, bullish continuation. Hesitation, bullish continuation. So just maybe for a push to the downside into a demand zone that we have on the 4 hours time frame, I think that might be significant enough. Okay, so this is the area that I'm talking about as we zoom into the 4 hours time frame right now. Maybe for price to give us a push to the downside into this particular demand zone area, anywhere from right around here, even 1800 area, anywhere from right around there. If we begin to get bounces to the upside, I will also be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside. Okay, now in the event that price begins to clearly break below this particular 4 hours demand zone that we have, all right, chances are we might get a push to the upside into a selling origin from where maybe the bears might start coming into this market. If this is the kind of formation we get, then I'll start searching for short opportunities, to kind of trade that retracement that we're probably going to get to the downside. Okay, all right. So that's pretty much the game plan for US dollar Japanese yen. Again, more updates will be given in the midweek forex forecast to kind of give you guys the current levels that we have when price has traded, at least for the first 1 or 2 days of the week. Okay, so keep an eye out for that particular video that I'll be releasing on Wednesday. All right, okay. All right, next up is going to be British pounds and Japanese yen. Now, British pounds, Japanese yen, what do we have here? And again, this is the last of the majors. And you can see this is that range that we have on GJ. All right, and right now you can see price has given us a push into the top of that particular range. Okay, that is the top of the range area. Price just closed around at 15700, which is in that top of the range. So right now, well, what will happen next week? Do we get a break of this range to the upside? Who knows? Only time will tell. Okay, but that's probably likely. All right, based on the way that price is now beginning to attack this particular level and from the move that we are seeing in US dollar Japanese yen. But again, just to give you an idea, this is where we are. Price is in that particular up boundary of the range, so trade with caution. All right, but in the event that we begin to clearly break above this particular range top next week, then in my opinion, I'll be searching for pullbacks into demand zones in the smaller time frame and bounces from those levels for further continuations to the upside. Okay, just to give you an idea of what I'm going to be looking for next week. But paying attention to this week's candle, obviously a very massive bullish week. Okay, almost 400 pips move, 153 to 157, perfect 400 pips move. So this is a perfectly bullish week. Okay, but again, let's see how it goes next week. All right, now taking a look at the daily time frame, what do we have here? Not much, to be honest. Price just gave us, nice bullish push. That's about what I'm going to say. Okay, but again, if we go into the the 4 hours time frame, we have this demand zone right here that led to the break of this level of structure. However, we are now inside that particular upper range that we just identified. So few levels to keep an eye on here. We have this demand zone right here on the 4 hours time frame, and we also have this particular demand zone in this particular area, also in the 4 hours time frame. So, well, I'll be keeping an eye on both levels. Let's say 15600. Any bounces from 15600, we could possibly start seeing another push to the upside. Okay, in the event that price does not respect this particular demand zone, I will also be keeping an eye on, let's say, this particular demand zone that we have in this area right around 154.50 level. Okay, anywhere from right around here as well, that's going to be a valid level to start searching for long opportunities for further continuations to the upside. Okay, so these are the two levels that I'm going to be keeping an eye on in British pounds and Japanese yen as we go into next week. Now, obviously, in the event that, let's say, the market opens next week, and then from here the bulls just come into these markets and continue pushing the markets to the upside, very simple. We're just going to like I said earlier, wait for price to give us a push into the demand zones that form in the smaller time frames and start searching for long opportunities for further continuations to the upside. Okay, but honestly, I'm more bullish than bearish. The question now, in my own opinion, is, are we going to get a push to the downside, which I actually expect, before the bulls come back into this market? Okay, but right now it's looking more bullish than bearish. All right, now next up is going to be Euro Yen. Okay, so this is the first cross pair that we're going to be taking a look at. Okay, taking a look at the weekly time frame. Well, obviously massive, just like in the case of GJ, obviously a massive bullish week. And well, what I would love to see right now is for price to give us some form of a pullback to fill up demand zones in the smaller time frames for further continuations to the upside. Okay, now taking a look at the daily time frame, not much. Price has just been printing a bunch of bullish days. Okay, consecutive bullish days. So in my own opinion, what I would love to see right now is for price, okay, to give us some significant pullback. Okay, maybe into the demand zone that we have right around that 130.100 institutional price level. Anywhere from right around there, I'll be looking for bounces to the upside for further continuations to the upside. All right, now to see it clearer, let's take a look at the 4 hours time frame. All right, so this is that particular demand zone that I'm talking about in this particular area. So let's see, from this particular zone, I would love to see price give us that push to the upside. Okay, push to the downside into, let's say, 130.100 area, into this particular demand zone that we have here on the 4 hours time frame. Any bounces from here, in my own opinion, is going to be a high quality trade for further continuations to the upside. All right, so that's it for Euro Yen. Next up is going to be Australian dollar Japanese yen. Obviously quite similar to the Euro Yen currency pair. Okay, you can see the weekly, very nice break to the upside. You can see we've now clearly broken this level of resistance that we had in this area. So this pair is absolutely bullish at the moment. If you pay attention to the daily time frame, you can see we have a demand zone on the daily from where price can easily give us a push to the downside to retest. Okay, but in my own opinion, I don't think we're gonna get that deep of a pullback next week. Okay, who knows, only time will tell. But I'm just pointing that out, that this is a level right now that has now formed on the daily time frame from where the bulls can easily start coming back into this market. Okay, but even before that level, if you pay attention to the 4 hours time frame, we have a very nice demand zone right around this area. Okay, right around that 8700 level. that from here, in my own opinion, if we do get a push to the downside into, let's say, that 8700 area, deep into this demand zone area, in my opinion, any bounces from here, I'll be looking for an opportunity to go long for further continuations to the upside. In the event that price breaks below this 4 hours demand zone, then I'll obviously be keeping an eye at this 8550 level, 8500 level for massive bounces for further continuations to the upside. Okay, that's kind of my game plan going into next week for Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Next up is going to be Canadian dollar, Swiss francs. Okay, this one right now, as you can see here, we have a demand zone in here. Not the best looking, to be honest, in my opinion, but well, let's see what happens. We have a level right around here in this 4 hours demand zone, from where I'll be keeping an eye on this pair. If we do get a bounce, chances are we might get another push to the upside for further continuations to the upside. But again, remember, next week we have significant news coming from the from Switzerland, so be very careful if you're trading this currency pair next week. Okay, all right, the last but not the least is going to be Swiss francs, Japanese yen, which is actually one of the pairs that I like the most going into next week. Obviously, another very nice push to the upside, creating you know, a new high actually. Okay, breaking clearly above this level of resistance that we have in this area. You can see actually on the daily time frame, quite similar to Australian dollar, Japanese yen, we now have a new demand zone that is formed as a result of the break of this level of structure. So from right around here, you know, it's looking bullish. Okay, we have the demand zone right now right around that 12600 area in the daily time frame. But again, if you zoom into the 4 hours time frame, we have this very beautiful demand area, okay, right around 126.50 in my own opinion, from where I think I believe that if price is to give us a push into this particular demand zone area, anywhere from right around here, if we begin to get any bounces to the upside, that will be a high quality trade for further continuations to the upside. But like I pointed out as well, Swiss francs has the monetary policy meeting next week. All right, so pay attention to that if you're going to be taking this particular trade. All right, so that's pretty much what I'm seeing on my charts right now. Hopefully you gained some value from this particular video. Like I said, I'll be posting a midweek forex forecast video next week, Wednesday, 1 a.m. Eastern time. I'm sorry guys, I did not post one last week, or actually this week. I'm sorry about that. I actually had a lot going on, and you know, I didn't even remember to even make that video, to be completely honest with you. All right, but yes, I'm going to be posting one next week, Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully you gain some value from this video. If you did, guys, please do not forget to like, subscribe, comment, click on that notification bell so that we'll always get updates whenever I post a video. Cheers and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.